Welcome to Mercer County Disc Golf Course for Krampus 4, a production of BS Upshot. Thanks to our presenting sponsors Cosmic Disc Golf, D-Town Disc Golf, and Reaper Disc Supply. I'm Dave Oster, and I'll be guiding you through today's treachery that is Mercer County Park. Krampus is St. Nick's evil brother who punishes those who misbehave, and he's in Mercer County Park today, messing with players' lines. If you follow the intended fairways, you will have no issues, but if you misbehave and go off the intended line, then Krampus will punish you. He has also added additional challenges on every hole here at Mercer, including reverse circles, random obstacles to avoid on holes, as well as Mandos, OB, and hazards on all 20 holes of this Krampus 4 layout. Those who survive Krampus in the first 20 holes qualify for a chance to beat Krampus in the final 9 Safari layout. Today's brave adventurers include Joey Bruno from Claymont, Delaware, local legend Zachary Tesone, Bo Lee, who we last saw on coverage at the GEAC last year, and a newcomer to HyzerReviews coverage, Kenneth Wilson. And here we go, starting off on hole 1, par 3, 210 feet to the short basket on the left. And Krampus begins by giving us a reverse circle. It's about 15 feet out of bounds circle around the basket. So if you land inside of it, you have to take it where you went out. Joey getting us started. Gets through all the trees, but lands in the out-of-bounds circle. We have the first victim of Krampus. So he'll be taking it back where he went out of bounds last. Zach Tesone going a bit lower of the line, straighter, long of the basket, but will have a putt likely in the circle for his birdie. Bo Lee going with a wider line, more stable, trying to get it down, and he does so pretty well. Kenneth Wilson, last on our card, also going the wide line, keeps it a little bit further out, and checks up just before getting into the reverse circle. So here's Zach, putting through quite a few trees for his chance at a birdie to start this tournament off right. And nails it. Dead center, great putt by Zach. Bo just a couple steps closer, but a tight gap he's got to putt through. And also able to score. Ken with a little bit cleaner of a look and also able to nail it. And now Joey trying to save the par back from where he went out of bounds. And able to get it. So 2 strokes for all of the players on this card. Just 1 OB stroke for Joey as we move on to hole 2. Par 3, 320 feet. We're actually playing from the short tee pad today, and there is a Mando left, directly off the tee, right around here, one of these trees, and then a Mando further up on the right. So making this line pretty tight. Players can go left or right once you get to this clump of trees. And basket nestled around a few trees, obstacles once you get onto the green. Zach taking the box. Nice flip up, going down that left side and skipping all the way into the circle. Great shot by Zach. The Mandos on this round are going to be marked by the white tape on the trees. And as we see, Bo missed it. Another victim to Krampus. And you hear Kenny say it slipped right of his hand. And another missed Mando, so they will be going to the drop zones. And Joey going with the forehand roller. Oh, catches an early tree. And actually rolls short of the Mando left, so he'll still have to get around it. Leaning out as far as he can. And catch another tree, but does get around the Mando. Bow from the drop zone. Ooh, catches a tree. Was coming in looking pretty good. He'll have a long look to save his par. Kenny going with the backhand. Looks like it was a little turnover, although maybe trying to go outside. Seems like Kenny might be having a little bit of grip issues. It was a chilly morning. First couple holes. Need to kind of warm up those hands. And Joey going with the flare thumber. And almost getting all the way around. So now Bo to save his par. Oh, good line. Trying to get just over that branch. Oh, and another tree. Just kicking the disc off the seemingly pretty good line. Kenny to save the bogey now. And good putt. Able to limit the damage after being caught up by Krampus. And Zach for the only birdie on the card. And nails the putt. So we'll have a couple of cleanups here. We saw a lot of the trees right around the basket. It's a common theme here at Mercer, especially the first few holes. Hole 2 was playing as the fourth hardest hole of this 20-hole layout, and looks to be only a couple of birdies on the day. So we'll see what Krampus has here in hole 3. It is a par 4, 387 feet, playing from the long tee. There's a Mando left. Probably coming into play on your second shot. It's going to be on one of these trees right here on the right. The line is where the drone is flying, taking a wide around, and then having to navigate these quite a few guardian trees to get into the green. And trying to score here. So Zach will be up first. Just going with a straight, slight bending, left to right shot. Oh, and he made the Mando. Looks like he caught a late tree, but I think he's in a great spot. Again, this is a par 4, so from where he is, he should have a pretty clean up and down. Ken going with the forehand. Comes out, again, a little early, maybe a little low, but looks like he's in the middle of the fairway. Bo also going with the forehand. And gets a favorable kick. Looked like that was definitely going right. Puts him on the left side. I think he even made it past the Mando. So Joey also going with the forehand. Oh, kicking. Looks like middle of the fairway, but short of the Mando. Still have to go around it. And Ken just having a little bit of trouble here early. Needs to turn it around. First time on camera, at least on ours, so we'll see if he's able to calm the nerves. He is getting up closer to the green, so making progress. And Joey gets a kick. Oh, and misses the Mando in his second shot. So he'll proceed to the drop zone, throwing a little bit of a tomahawk through a tight gap, and gets close to the basket. So he will be able to limit the damage. Bo with a nice forehand flex line, going A little bit past the basket, but he'll have a putt back at it. Zach here with the best drive of the group. Just trying to throw a little chipper up there. Ooh, catches one of those last guardian trees coming in. He'll still have a maybe circle's edge putt at it. Ken giving it a run. A little high, but able to stay close enough. Now Zach for, I believe, the only birdie attempt left. Maybe 28, 30 feet. And nails it. So Zach 3 down through 3. Krampus not able to catch Zach yet. Still plenty of opportunities. Not that I'm rooting for Krampus, but unfortunately he was all over this course. I believe this is also Bo for a birdie attempt. Gonna straddle out around the tree down to a knee and sneaks it over the rim. So good hole by Bo as well. So 2 birdies, 2 bogeys. Move on to hole 4, par 3, 255 feet. Playing from the short tee, and as we can see, there are some additional obstacles on this hole. Right within the circle, we have a tent and chair set up. Perhaps this was where Krampus was camping as he was waiting for players to arrive today. And now these players are going to have to avoid these obstacles. Zach turning it over a little bit. Players trying to take it a little bit wider than maybe they would have usually. And not directly, but it seems like it's causing issues on the line that they're trying to throw so far. No one really with a great shot. Ken gets a clean release out of it. Good skip. Oh, nicks off of the tent leg and parks it. So he had a run-in with Krampus, but was able to escape freely. Other 3 players looks like they were at least mentally affected by it. Joey going with the tomahawk again. And he will be putting from just about under the tent. Bo going with the forehand over it. Ooh, and catches a high limb. So he'll have a long putt to save the birdie. Looks like outside the circle. Save the par. And now Zach with a long look. Circle 2 or longer for his birdie. Oh, and chains out to stay perfect. Would have gone 4 through 4. But finally getting caught up. Oh, as Bo saves his par with a great putt. 35, 40 feet. And now Joey just kind of outside the circle. Outside of the footprint of the tent. Looks like that leg wasn't quite in his way. And now Kenny with his near miss of Krampus. Able to basically tap in that birdie. Trying to turn things around. Hole 5 is par 3, 260 feet, playing from the short tee, but there is a late Mando right. Around here, forcing everybody to go with a turnover or a forehand, and not really a clean line to get all the way there. A hard flex backhand could potentially get you there. And we'll see which tree that Mando tape is on in a second. Kenny comes up a little bit short left. You can see Zach's kind of going straight and left, but is short enough not to miss the Mando. You really need to get it further right than the basket. This is looking a little bit better. Oh, but it's kind of Hyzering out, but it gets a good kick. We see our first look at that Mando. So they're trying to get from the tee's perspective to the right of that tree and then back to the left. Joey going with the forehand roller. Oh, it was going to go long, but a great tree stops him right in the circle. So Ken off to the left side. Still has to get around the Mando. And does so. Great out. He might be close to circle's edge to save his par. Zach having to take a wide hyzer. Reach out, stand still. Ooh, gets around the Mando but catches a late tree. So again, sometimes without directly influencing these players, just the thought of Krampus's effect on this course is having an effect on the players. As you can see, no one is really close. Still going to have to make some putts. Joey is close for his birdie, so he may be the only one that's able to avoid it on this hole. Just a bit too low for Ken. Now Zach to save his par. 25 feet. Oh, and a chain out left. A little bit too much hyzer on that one. Now Joey for the only birdie on the card. Off the band. Krampus having effects in more places than we can see. Oh, and another one. What is happening here? I think just the knowledge that Krampus is around is really affecting these players right now. There we go. Unfortunately for the bogey, Bo makes his putt. Double for Ken. And the first blemish on Zach's card as well. Tough hole for these guys. Hole 6, par 3, 260 feet. Playing as essentially the normal hole 6 if we're familiar to Mercer County Park. Bending left to right all the way. Getting past these two recently built fences, either through the gap or over them, but there is one mandatory late on the right that you do have to go around. It's kind of the normal line that you'd have to take, but if you do saw it off, you have the additional stroke for missing the Mando and you go to the drop zone. Joey caught a tree, dropped down in the fairway. Zach taking it a bit wider and a bit too wide, but landed in the middle of the fairway. So forehand works, a turnover, backhand works. Bo gonna show us that. Taking it a little tight right side and catching a tree and kicking way left. So no threat of the Mando, but not in the greatest position. Kenny going pretty much dead straight, landing over near where Bo wound up. So no Mando. Actually, Joey's right in front of the Mando, but should be pretty easy to get around it. Just trying to get up and down. And looks like he will do so. Zach actually in a pretty decent spot. He's going to have a long look at it. He's going to give it a bid. Oh, and off the rim from 80 or maybe more feet away. Great attempt by Zach. Kenny also giving it a bid from further over to the left. And Bo to save the par. And able to do so. So we'll have a couple of, a little bit more than a tap in for Ken. And then Joey and Zach finishing up here on hole 6. Hole 6 was playing as almost exactly par today for the whole field, so you see that card representing. As we move over to hole 7, this is how the hole will normally play. It's a very tight line, often one to throw something vertical, either a roller or tomahawk thumber, something like that, to get through all of these narrow trees. However, today Krampus has added an additional triple mandatory over this BS Upshot banner between the two trees that it's tied to, essentially taking away the roller play. So you have to get up and over that banner. So the forehand tomahawk or thumber is what we're going to be going for. And Joey made it over the banner, kicked, and went back across the Mando line, which new PDGA rules counts that as a missed Mando. I'm not sure what we like about that. Comment down below if you like that new Mando rule. It seems strange. Joey made it through the Mando and had to come back and still got that additional stroke, and he'll be going to the drop zone, which you'll see is not a fun drop zone. But I also don't want to overlook Zach and Bo's great shots, make it all the way into the circle. Ken hit a similar line, just caught a tree kind of in the middle. And now we see Joey right in front of that banner, still has to make it through the Mandos, and catches another tree. He's still going to be throwing vertical, trying to get all the way through to the basket. And a bit long, but he'll have a putt, kind of a long putt, to try to save that bogey. Another tree for Ken, but stays close enough. He should be able to save his par. And Joey, with that additional stroke for missing the Mando, will wind up with a double bogey. Now Zach to get a stroke back from Krampus. And dead center. Zach right now, the only one really having success against Krampus, although he has been bit once or twice. Does Krampus bite you? I'm not sure. Does he just meddle with the course? I'm not sure. But he's gotten some of these guys so far. Hole 8 is a par 4, 480 feet, throwing a forehand or a slight left to right backhand, wanting to land around here into the open field. Leaves you pretty good, again, forehand, sometimes a backhand roller into this narrowing fairway to get to the green. There is a Mando just off of the tee on the right side that you need to go left of. It's giving you kind of the normal line, but could come into play if an errant shot happens. Playing from the long tee to the long basket here on hole 8. Great shot. Oh, and a good skip for Bo. He'll have a pretty short approach into the green. Zach wound up turning it over just a bit, more so going too straight, and wound up in the rough on the left. And Ken also will be on the left side, a little bit shorter than Zach. Joey going with the forehand roller, trying to get a lot of distance and getting around the corner. Oh, he misses the Mando right side. Krampus got him again on this hole, and it doesn't matter where this is going because he's going back to the drop zone, but that went a long way. Needed it to go to the right after that roll, but regardless, he's at the drop zone, going with the forehand turnover. Oh, and takes it just a bit too wide. So he'll still be on the right side of the fairway, but maybe within 120 feet of the basket. Ken just going with a little bit of a forehand pitch out, and that's rolling the wrong way. It's rolling a long way. That's over near 8's short pin. But we're playing to the long, so he'll have to maneuver from one to the other. Is that close enough to be able to stretch out and throw the forehand into the circle? Might be able to still save the birdie there. And the difficulty is compounding for Joey, unfortunately. Trying to get around the corner. On that right side, as you get closer to the pin, it gets more of a tighter turn, so that forehand roller was really his only play. And Kenny doing a great job getting through all those trees. Little forehand, and now Bo, after that great drive, has a fairly easy approach and takes advantage of it. He'll have a less than 10-footer for his birdie. Joey going with a little flex forehand and gets caught up, but he'll have 15-20-footer. Unfortunately, that will be for, I think, his bogey. And Zach, even after being in the rough off the tee, able to save the birdie. Joey here trying to limit the damage. And I believe Krampus has a strong grasp on Joey right now. Bo playing the hole perfectly, getting that birdie. Ken able to save the par as well. Hole 9, par 3, 350 feet, very tight off the tee. We're playing a double Mando, 2 of the last trees in the gap. Once you get out into the open, there's a couple bunker trees you got to avoid. Pretty much dead straight, 350. Not the easiest shot for most people. See the double Mandos there. Oh, and Zach hits one of the Mando trees and kicks backwards. So he hasn't missed the Mando yet, but he's still going to have to go through that gap. And Bo gets through, drifting a little bit too far right, hits one of the bunker trees on the right and kicks way left. So going to be difficult, but not quite as difficult as these guys are going to have it. Missed the Mando. So he'll be going to the drop zone as well. Joey through the Mando. Turns it over a bit too much, but he'll have a clean look to get up and down. So Zach is pretty far left. We'll see what he is trying to do. A little horseshoe pitch putt just to get back into the fairway short of the Mando. So definitely going to cost him some strokes here. Oh, another errant throw. So hasn't had any penalties, but that was his 3rd throw, and he's still outside of the circle by a lot and having to get it up and down to save, I believe, a double. Ken catching another tree and then going long, so he'll have a long putt back just to save his bogey. This is where Bo ended up, trying to get up and down for a par. And didn't need that roll. Zach giving it a bid. Just kind of getting it there. Tough hole for Zach. He's got some strokes to play with, but obviously still a whole 9 holes left to go after this one. Oh, and Ken able to limit the damage with a great putt. Unfortunately, it was for the double bogey. And Bo, a couple steps closer, trying to save the par. And does so. So Zach here, finally bit by Krampus. Was able to avoid him for almost the whole front nine. But a double here is definitely going to bring him closer to the rest of the card. And Joey tapping in that par. We have one more hole here for the front 10 of the first round here at Krampus 4. Is a par 4, 485 feet, playing from the long tee to the short basket. And look how close that hazard line is to the basket. So some of these guys might actually be able to reach the basket in one throw. If not, the second approach shots are going to be tricky, just a few feet long, and they'll be playing with a penalty stroke where they lie. Bo's going wide. Maybe trying to get that down for a roller, not sure. Gets caught up in those pine trees. But even from there, it should be a short approach, but like I said, a tricky one. Joey definitely going with that forehand roller. And doesn't quite get enough cut. Maybe got caught up on something. Not sure. Decent distance, though. Kind of trickles into that right side. And you see he should be able to reach out to get a decent, clean approach to that basket. Zach definitely lining up that big backhand roller. Or maybe... Oh, yep, definitely. Oh, great roller. This needs to... Yep, trickling over there. Left side. And we'll have maybe a circle's edge look at an eagle. But will he actually want to run it? Given that hazard line no more than 3 feet from the basket. Ken going with the normal backhand straight to hyzer line. And real stable, winds up going left side pretty far. So Bo does have a clean look at it. Little forehand pitch up. And stops just before getting over that line. Narrowly avoiding a penalty stroke. And Ken doesn't like it out of the hand. And knew he gave it just a bit too much. Krampus got him there. Luckily, he'll have a fairly short putt to try to save it. Joey having to reach out from a knee. Catches the one tree in his way. Kind of a little alcove he wound up in, making his angle in a little bit difficult. And Zach giving it a bid for eagle. And just barely avoiding the hazard. Not sure if that was an errant layup or was actually trying to run it. But nice putt for Joey to save the birdie, essentially. From the rough, not the best upshot, but then made a good putt. Bo for birdie. Oh, and skips off. I believe that stayed in bounds. Ken from the hazard. Oh, no. Krampus is definitely affecting these players now. This guy's taking a look. It's very, very close. I think most of the disc is over the line. But again, it's straight line from where the bottom of the flags are. Very smart by Zach, bringing out a retriever stick to see exactly where his disc is, and I think they made the call that he was safe. Ooh, and almost bitten out. And after all that, Zach will wind up with a very easy birdie tap in after a little bit of stress right there. So Krampus got a lot of everybody, but we did have some pretty good shots there. Ken narrowly avoiding a run-in with Krampus with a great shot. Shot of the round contender. Thanks to our supporting sponsors, the Norse Gods, as well as our Patreon family for making our coverage possible. We have 10 more holes here to see who gets the opportunity to defeat Krampus in the final Safari 9 at Mercer. So make sure you tune in to this back 10 coming right up.